Each year, every South Carolina school gets one of these school report cards, and they show how well the kids in each school do on the standardized testing. The idea here is to hold the teachers and the administrators accountable.
Those kinds of measurements have been used to determine school funding or to evaluate teachers. But now 7 News investigator Gordon Dill shows you the numbers show the problem with struggling schools isn't just teachers or students, and the solution won't cost a dime. Gordon.
So we wanted to look at the schools where students do really well and really poorly on those standardized tests, especially in English and math. And sure enough, we found some common themes, but one in particular became very clear. There is a huge imbalance in parental volunteers. The numbers are incredible. Successful schools have lots of parents involved every day. The struggling ones don't. By almost any measure, Lakeview Middle School is struggling. On South Carolina's standardized tests, more than half the students here get the lowest possible scores in English and math. In 2016, out of more than 450 students, less than 1% earned top scores, and that's not a fluke. When school starts next year, 75% of incoming 6th graders already read below grade level. Clearly, there's a problem that teachers and taxes haven't fixed.
But you got to remember, kids, you got 3 more guardian angels than I have.
But maybe this retired dancer is the answer.
She encourages me and she helps me get through my days.
We always talk about homework, school, her favorite subjects.
Do you ever think that that's where you want to end up?
Diana Coleman's a volunteer mentor. She meets with one student for 30 minutes a week. For the most part, all she does is listen. The hard part,
she, for the first time, shared her actual journal with me.
She won't judge me, she'll help me, but she's not gonna get mad.
Is just showing up. After all the debates about how to save struggling schools, having someone show up clearly makes a difference. In fact, at Greenville County Schools, the volunteers have to sign in, so schools have some pretty detailed records about how many hours volunteers work at each school. We put those numbers alongside the results each school got on state standardized tests, and sure enough, it's a very reliable predictor of student success. Schools with the fewest volunteers got the lowest test scores, while schools with better scores have a lot more. Oakview Elementary has more than 40,000 hours, mostly parents, and the students there got the highest scores in the district. At Lakeview, the principal says just 5 or 6 parents came to the first PTA meeting, and some of them never came back.
It's based on the level of interest, I believe, that the community takes in the school and the amount of value that they place on what's happening inside the school.
At Lakewood, the volunteer shortage is so severe it attracted the attention of donors in a nearby neighborhood. Ed Winkler founded the Cura Foundation in Montebello as a charity that tries to fill the gap left by a lack of parental involvement in the school.
Knowing that they needed somebody's help simply because they just didn't have enough people to work with them. Their PTA was limited, their resources were limited, so we chose Lakeview.
Cura bought new instruments for the music students. One donor bought a school uniform for every child here, and they bought the gifts that teachers get during Teacher Appreciation Week. But again, this is not about the money. Our data doesn't measure how much money parents have, but how often they volunteer at school. More important than the uniforms and helping with the instruments is just showing up.
Absolutely.
Just to listen and talk, provide adult guidance.
So that dancer, Diana Coleman, is a Cura volunteer. She mentors an 8th grader named Georgiana. Georgiana's been through a lot, including the deaths of 3 childhood friends. The school made this match, and it may be working. Georgiana is more focused on those state standardized tests. In fact, that's why she's not in uniform here. It's her reward. Parents who volunteer get results, and all it costs...
Did that help any?
It helped a little bit.
Oh, that'll bet. I know.
...is time. So there are a lot of good reasons why some parents don't volunteer, like having to be at work, right? But we also learned some of these kids who don't get volunteers at school need them the most. We heard some truly chilling stories about what kids at Lakeview and other local schools have been dealing with in their young lives. They need mentors, and if the parents aren't there in these schools, maybe something like Cura is what it takes to fill the void.